Take a pure light white and mix it together with another pure color, like red. Now mix them together, and you really have something special.
After the end of World War II, the world was divided into two major powers in ideology, the capitalist West and the communist East. A bitter rivalry and hatred brewed between these powers, but unlike the last Great War, the war would mean the certain doom for all of mankind. Therefore, warfare and communication had to change, and which led to the creation of the greatest form of communication in all of human history.
Surfing the web. Think of it as a mailbox on your desk. Any letter or catalog you could ever want available to be downloaded or delivered directly to you.
The internet allowed accessibility and creative freedom like none other, such as websites, images, sales, and even film. And on February 14th, 2005, a little website made its debut on the internet where anyone was allowed to upload anything they wanted to create whatever they please, allowing anyone with new ideas and allowing talentless nobodies to become internet superstars and make mass fortune. There is no denying that film is a great form of human artwork and has become a staple of modern human legacy. And creation of art takes talent, funding, hard work, dedication, creativity, and sometimes years of time. And like all forms of art, they all start with a novice and an idea. But in this case, a young child having access to Microsoft XP Movie Maker on a 10-year-old laptop.
YouTube poop. Where there's smoke, they pinch back.
YouTube poop, a genre that officially began in late 2004, usually involves a pre-existing work or media and making edits to change the entire work of art itself, sometimes to an extreme, to the point to where the original work of art is almost completely unrecognizable, or just ever so slightly.
So let me get this straight. You're trying to say that YouTube poop is a form of art?
I'm trying to say that YouTube poop is a form of art. It is art!
How can you say that when it's taking someone else's work and only make little edits on some dingy editing software?
Because I'm changing the context, therefore changing the media itself. You wouldn't consider a song with the same melody, but with different lyrics to be the same song, would you? Even now, the creator has changed the context of a very important scene from the hit movie The Dark Knight, creating a whole new form of media itself.
I still don't see how it's art, especially how low quality the video editing and writing is.
Ever hear of a band called the Sex Pistols? The Sex Pistols were an English rock band that was formed in 1975 and were notorious for having a loud, over-the-top, zany, bombastic, comedic lyrics, and were known for having a total disregard for other people's opinions or political status. Similarly to how YouTube poopers enjoy creating whatever they feel like and completely disregarding people's opinions or large copyright holders. And just like how YouTube poops, especially in the early 2000s, were known for poor quality, so could be said for the Pistols. In the modern day, most people demand perfection for most forms of media, but only a few creators can fully appreciate the time and effort something takes. But the artists that are truly respected by other artists are the artists that do not give a shit what the critics truly think. Also, a true artist, like all men, are limited to what they are capable of creating before time begins to wear on them, and they can no longer create. And sometimes artists have to steal ideas from other unrecognized talents, or be influenced by other unrecognized pieces of media. Just how the Sex Pistols would inspire other major bands such as The Clash, The Ramones, Green Day, or Nofix. The same could be said for many other musicians who went out completely unnoticed but are loved by all forms of modern music. Many such musicians as John Prine, Elliott Smith, Ween, Slade, Butthole Surfers, and the Grateful Dead. And just like the unrecognized YouTube pooper, creating what he or she wanted would inspire other creators to create. Just how Barney is Perverted and Santa with Teeth inspired Imp Lemon and Schaefer Ellis Productions, and Imp Lemon inspiring me.
I still don't see how something that is bad quality can be considered art, especially if it's not popular. And if hard work doesn't go into something, how can it be considered art?
Popularity is an abstract concept that rises and fade with time. And who's to say hard work and dedication doesn't go into it?
During peak, I would get one out every 2 to 3 months usually. Granted, I didn't eat, I didn't sleep, and the only pooping I did was on YouTube.
He teamed up with a few independent music artists, including Atronox Aura, to create Deliver Us, a YTP of the SpongeBob episode Pizza Delivery. He even made a trailer announcing it on the Awful Fawful channel, which had otherwise been abandoned. It premiered on November 30th, 2016 and was a massive success, netting nearly 1 million views currently and becoming the video most know him for. But by this point, things had started to crumble in other ways.
That thing happens where like someone makes something decent and everyone says, oh, it's your magnum opus, it's your magnum opus. And then once that's done, you're sitting down again, you're ready to make something new and you're like, oh, what do I do now? Where do I go from here? That, and at this point I was already out of high school, out in the world, living on my own. And I started to overthink things. The clear answer should have been to just have YTP be like a side thing, not think too deep about it, have it just be like a hobby if that was something I wanted to continue. But at the same time, this was like the only success that I had found online. I say that like I tried something else. But basically I had this platform and I wanted to play it safe so as to not lose it if I wanted to, and just animate or make videos or just other content creation. All these things just kind of weighed down on me, and at that point I had a lot of things to worry about, like in real life.
After actively uploading for over 5 years and putting in as much effort as he had, Fawful had reached absolute burnout. He'd stated that being forced to move to a new channel due to all the restrictions had put him in a breaking point. And at the time, he had just graduated high school and no longer had the same amount of time to spend on videos as he had before. Even his connections to other creators began to wither away after a series of small disagreements between them and him withdrawing further from the community. And as one final blow to the channel, Deliver Us was blocked in most countries in 2019.
Another story that is similar to Awful Fawful is the story of the famous painter Vincent van Gogh. However, most people don't know the horrible tragedies of his life and how he was completely rejected from his mother, the church, and yes, even the art community. Vincent never became popular or a successful artist until nearly 2 decades after his death. Mainly, no one understood his art, as most of the art at the time was primarily hyper-realistic, while Vincent's work was more abstract and brightly colored. Vincent would give everything to his craft, spending every waking moment painting and resorting to a diet of only bread and water to afford his painting equipment, and slowly devolving into alcoholism and depression. Eventually, his mental state completely fell apart from years of being malnourished, syphilis, and eating his own paint out of hunger. Vincent was admitted to a mental ward where he would also make his most famous painting, The Starry Night, from looking outside his hospital bedroom quarters. Vincent would eventually be released, and 2 months after his release, he would take a loaded pistol and shoot himself in the chest, not even realizing what he had done. Vincent would die later in the morning in a hospital bed in his sleep. His brother Theo would take up his work, and within 6 months, his brother died of syphilis. Vincent's sister-in-law and mother of his nephew would begin selling these paintings in the early 1920s, and soon they truly began to be appreciated. Many artists just like Vincent go completely unrecognized and are usually forgotten, but some resurface and become iconic staples of modern culture, just like with YouTube poop, a form of art that I believe has never truly been appreciated, that has constantly been disregarded and sometimes outright hated, or has been thrown away by the YouTube copyright holders. And to be honest, it may never be looked at as art. But who knows, this genre has lasted for almost 20 years now, and it doesn't seem to be dying out anytime soon. Maybe 20 years from now, the true craft and art of poop will truly be loved.
because you too fits where the glue fits.